Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am your host, Wilk Wilkinson, your blue-collar sage, calming outrage and helping to navigate a world divided by fog and those who would spread that fear, outrage, and grievance. Each week, I'm sharing stories from my path and using the power of conversation and collaboration with my many great guests. Together, we chart a course toward understanding, bridging divides, and fostering a community where wisdom prevails over discord. Friends, it really is about bettering the world one attitude at a time. We did not create the hate, but together we can derate the hate. The only good thing about a bad attitude is we have the ability as individuals to change it. For me, it starts with gratitude and personal accountability. I am so incredibly grateful that you have taken the time to join me for another powerful DTH episode. Please remember to subscribe and share the DTH podcast with your network of friends. If you would like to support the show, check out the Support Us page on the D-Rate the Hate website. With that, my friends, let's get to it. Imagine with me, if you will, my friends, a world where our first identity is our value, truly recognizing our own value, where understanding our unique purpose and our power can transform not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. That's the vision of my friend, Regi Wilson, a true 21st century Renaissance man. Now, you may remember Regi from DTH episode 148 if you've been listening to me for a while. Regi's incredible journey spans the music industry, where he's worked alongside legends like Chaka Khan, Mary J. Blige, and the one and only Prince Rogers Nelson, better known as just Prince. But his mission goes way beyond music. Regi is the driving force behind the concept of value identity and the Human Value Initiative at theequaluniverse.com. Today, Regi returns to the show to share updates on his groundbreaking work in Hawaii, including an online educational tool and a virtual museum dedicated to value identity. He'll explain how embracing our value identity creates safety and connection, moving us away from the divisive identity politics and towards a focus on our common humanity. We'll explore the lessons learned from pain, the power of individual observation, and the boundless potential that lies within each of us. Get ready, friends, because this episode is packed with insights that will challenge the way that you think and inspire you to embrace your unique purpose. Let's welcome back my friend, the incomparable Regi Wilson. Here we go. Regi Wilson, welcome back to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. Brother, it has been too long. I am so excited to see you again, man.
As well as to see you, Wilk. This is always an opportunity that I look forward to is to have these talks and conversations with you.
Yeah, of course we've had... for the DTH listeners who might not be aware, Regi and I first met back in late 2022. First time he was on the D-Rate the Hate podcast was early 2023. We've had far more conversations offline than or off recording than on. We like to bounce ideas off each other once in a while, and that's always a great pleasure and certainly an honor for me to have Regi Wilson in my group of advisors, let's say. So Regi, tell me what's going on with the Equal Universe. How are things going? I know a lot of the time we've talked before about value identity proposition and how our first recorded conversation on the podcast was. What value do you place on you and how important it is for an individual to value themselves and things like that. And I know that's a big part of what you do. So Regi, what have you got going on right now? And I know that you reached out to me recently because of the obviously the painful situation our country is facing right now with the former president nearly assassinated. We were a couple millimeters probably away from the unthinkable, and a lot of that just stems from hate and people's not valuing other human beings. Regi, what's going on, man? What do you think about this whole deal?
Well, again, the top tier objective of value identity is to create safety, essentially. Safety in your relationship with yourself. And once you are well and happy and enjoying the experience of your own relationship with you, then as a direct consequence, when you show up in social spaces, that is what you will pour out into those encounters. Just to backtrack a little bit, what's been going on with my work is now we are in the planning stages of implementing several components for value identity statewide in Hawaii. We're looking at an online onboard education tool curriculum. We're also aligning with the FBI in their neighborhood safety program there.
Nice.
And another component that we're looking at is building a value identity virtual museum that's going to be co-created by students. So
Nice.
Those are some of the things that we have going on. But essentially, again, the top tier objective is creating safety in your relationship with you. And then as a consequence of that, what will show up in the world is a way that we can become safe spaces and safe places for each other, because we are ourselves a safe place and a safe space for ourselves.
Right. Now, I know one of the things that you and I have talked about several times before, Regi, is obviously, in line with or right along the same track of the value identity. I don't know. I can't remember if we called it the value identity proposition or the value identity model or what, but it's this idea that we each as individuals have infinite value, and until we understand our infinite value as individuals, it's really hard for us, number one, to take care of ourselves, but number two, to see the real value in other people. Absolutely. And one of the things that really strikes me about this attempted assassination of former President Trump, this past week or last week was a lot of the things that are coming out about the shooter is, again, a young man who was basically lost in the shuffle. He was bullied. He was, people are talking about him as if he was this one that people always suspected that if somebody was going to shoot up the school, it was going to be him. And so often the ones that do these things, if somebody had just spoken to them and really looked at them and seen them for the human being that they were, and talked with them and acknowledged them and acknowledged their value as a human being,
exactly, it
very well could have stopped what ultimately happened. And we see that so often with these young people that end up doing these mass shootings, whether they are somebody that goes and shoots up a grocery store in upstate New York and then leaves this manifesto of hate for people of a different racial identity than theirs, or if it's a young man that hates politicians and decides to try to take out a former president. Talk to me about that a little bit, Regi, because I know that's something that you and I have talked about in private conversation before, but how when people lose sight of their own value, they often act out in these just heinous and evil ways.
Absolutely. Well, the opposite of value is value absence. And so we live in a society that has told us and sold us and taught us that our value has to be acquired, achieved, and approved outside of us. And so, in essence, what that means is that the thing is valuable, but not you. The car, the bag of money, the million followers on Instagram, being famous, the house, the jewelry, the boats, the influence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is that we are in pursuit of our ability to experience value because inherently we need to. Okay. But what happens in this model, this value absent model that we've been socialized to embrace, is that, again, what we're being pointed to is something other than ourselves. And so when you can't achieve the measure, when you can't, achieve the measure that they tell you that you have to achieve to be valued by association,
Yeah.
okay, then what you experience is disconnection from your ability to experience value, which you experience loss. Okay. And what is inherent to loss is pain. And so essentially what is showing up in our society as a consequence with the assassination attempt, with school shootings, with all of the disparities that we're grappling with in society is essentially people who are in pain that are pouring their pain into themselves, back into themselves, out onto each other, or both.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have to pivot to is a different model, because this value absent model that points us to things as the only way for us to experience the value that we so essentially need to experience as human beings is a broken model. And so, and that's what value identity is all about. It's pivoting us into an understanding that your value is infinite, as you mentioned before. That it has already been accomplished in you in your inherent design, and that you exist as one of a kind. You're a category of one, and what you bring to the world is so essential and necessary. And the purpose of you being here is that you're the only one who can bring it to us, the body of humanity. And so understanding that gives you a sense of being needed, because you are. It gives you, it allows you to experience your own power, because you have something that none of us have that we all need, just like the heart. Okay, the heart has something that the entire body needs that none of the other members can provide.
That's right.
And you are essentially the same. What you bring to the world, your specific design, the way that you're, even when you say a word, no one can say that word exactly the same as you. And so understanding that you have a unique purpose and you were designed for that purpose, gives you access to the ability to experience your power, and experiencing that power in empowering yourself through that awareness. And
right.
Then when you share who you are with the world, you're empowering others, which pivots you into purpose. And that's what that's what this is all about. That's
what we're missing a lot of. And I want to dive into something a little bit deeper, Regi, because so
Absolutely.
often, and I've been talking over the past couple of years an awful lot about identity politics and the way that identitarianism has really destroyed a lot of people's individualism, right?
Exactly.
And as we lose ourselves as an individual, or perceive ourselves as having lost our individualism, we fall into these different identity groups, or we're forced into these different identity groups by people who try to make, I don't like to say it like this, but people who try to, well, I can't say I don't like to say it like this, because this is how I see it from, in my lived experience. This is what I see happening. I just think it's unfortunate that is probably the right way to say this. I think it's incredibly unfortunate, but there are powers that be that try to use the idea that these different identity groups are somehow where people need to find their value. And when that particular identity group has a perceived grievance, or when we or when something happens in that's relatively negative. So whether it be race or class or political affiliation or sexual identification or whatever the case may be, trying to place one's identity within a box of a certain class, gender, race, whatever, and trying to make people believe that has some kind of value as opposed to your individualism and your individual value as a human being. Mm-hmm. What it does is it sets up a grievance culture. And Absolutely. That grievance culture just creates anger, because every time something happens, and you believe, or you now somehow perceive, that your core identity is built upon whatever that immutable characteristic is, or whether it's a mutable characteristic or a chosen characteristic, anytime something happens that could be perceived as an assault on that identity group, now people feel devalued.
Of course.
When in actuality, in all actuality, their value should be found within their individual humanity. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, again, that's another component that I share and talk about in talking about body language, which are the value identity learning modules. What is our first identity? Who are you alone? Before you acquire the labels of brother or student or dad or political affiliate or vice president of a company or husband or wife, sister, who are you alone? Before any of those labels are acquired through your journey, mm-hmm. our core collective shared root identity is that we're all valuable first. And again, it goes back to the fact that we are all designed so uniquely that only one of each one of us exists in the world. And each one of us has a specifically designated design purpose that only we were built for. And so when we can embrace the understanding that our first identity is that we're all valuable first, then it pulls all of us to the same side together. It creates mm-hmm. unity. It creates connection. And so if you're valuable to me and I'm valuable to you, if I provide a benefit to you and you provide a benefit to me, then I'm going to be curious about what that benefit is that you provide to me. And you're going to be curious about what benefit it is that I provide to you. Sure. And you're going to be less interested in whether I'm white, whether I'm black, whether I'm political affiliate, because you're going to be more focused on what benefits you. And as mm-hmm. human beings, that is what we're driven by. If you look at every decision that you've made in your life, you can probably connect that to the perception or the idea that that relationship, that opportunity, that decision, that music concert, even helping someone else and the feeling that it gives back to you, that you've helped someone, is the benefit, is what drove you and what perpetuated, what compelled you to make that decision. So if we can begin to see each other in the context of how we benefit each other and that we exist to benefit each other, then we will become much more interested and intrigued in that component to explore and seeing each other as a gift. And what do we do with gifts? We're like, okay, let me unwrap this gift because I'd like to see what's in there for me. Mm-hmm. And so again, just like the heart and the lungs, they exist for each other. We too exist for each other. And again, that is what makes this model sustainable. It is because we, as human beings, we're always pursuing what benefits us, and we always come back to that. It is what we seek, what we pursue, and what we look for every single day, every single moment of our lives is in what way will this benefit me? So if we begin to see each other as serving a purpose that benefits us and benefiting each other, then we will become much more intrigued in building those relationships and building those connections because of that benefit, because of the desire to unearth that benefit, and then that will pivot us away from all of the other, as you said, I don't know how you characterize it, but all of the other
just the different identity groups and the idea that identitarianism or whatever, class, race, gender,
because
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Because the point in the human body and the wisdom in the human body is that every single member is different.
Yep. Everybody's different, but it's all required to. Yep. So let's dive into that a little bit deeper then, Regi. So for people who may not, who may be stuck on, of course everybody has value, but the idea that I need to see that you are going to provide something for me, or you are going to see that I'm going to provide something for you. Dive into that a little bit deeper, and tell me what that looks like. Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe just take two individuals who may not know each other. What does that look like, and how does that play out?
Exactly. Happy to do it. I was talking to my grandson one day, not long ago, and just trying to make kind of a very kind of complex idea simple to him. And this is how I did it. I said to him, and I paid him $5 to remember it.
That's what works. That's what works.
It worked. His name is Hendrix. And I said, Hendrix, if you remember this, I'll pay you $5. And nice. I said, in every situation, there is information. When you extract the information, it becomes knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is your superpower. So that knowledge empowers you. And when you share that knowledge, it empowers others, which means it becomes purpose. So I was asked that question by a gentleman, and I was kind of giving him this model of how we exist to benefit each other. And he said, well, what about the crazy person on the subway? I said, well, there's a benefit there. He's like, what is it? I said, that person will teach you to pay attention. And so in every situation, no matter how we may feel when we're experiencing it, there is information there. Now, we can choose to focus on the pain, or we can choose to focus on what we're learning from that encounter. When we extract the information, it becomes knowledge. It empowers you. And so we're literally here to fuel each other, to teach each other, and to learn from each other, the heart and the lungs, to empower each other. And it is your individual design that enables you to empower me. It is the way the heart is designed that enables it to empower the lungs and the rest of the body. It is the way that the lungs are designed that enables it to empower the rest of the body. So we're all different by design, and we all have a specific purpose that is coded into that design to bring power to the body of humanity as a whole. And only you as the individual member that you are can accomplish the purpose that is designed in you, that I need and that we all need.
That's right.
So what you bring to me and what you bring to us and what you bring to the world, even the way you say a word, No one can say that word, even if a million people say it, the same word. No one can say it the way that you say it. No one can do what you do exactly the way that you do it. So what you bring to me, what you bring to us, and what you bring to the world, we can only find that in you. And
Right.
understanding that you're a category of one, that you're a brand, that is a tremendous amount of power that is living and breathing and existing in you. And we're waiting for it because you are here for that purpose.
Right.
And I am here
Right.
for that purpose.
No, and one of the things that I hear you saying, Reggie, is one of the things that stood out to me in your examples and your story there is, we can focus on the pain or we can focus on the lesson.
Yes.
And one of the things that I say so often, whether it be here on this podcast or coaching or whatever the situation may be, is every mistake is an opportunity for learning.
Absolutely.
I also believe in the people have heard it called different things. I think one of the most recognizable ways to say it is like the butterfly effect, right? And when we are observant of our surroundings, there are so many things that are going on in the world every single day. And when I say every mistake is an opportunity for learning, I don't mean just the mistakes that we make, but we can observe the mistakes that others make, or we can observe the pain that others are in, or we can observe things that maybe have nothing to do with us, but there is somebody involved in that thing that's happening. Mm-hmm. And if we look at it and we take the lesson from it, maybe that's the lesson we needed today. And that
Absolutely.
person that's going through that thing, while their pain is tragic, maybe their pain is taking place to teach that lesson to others.
Absolutely.
And while it's unfortunate, I do believe in a grand plan. I do believe in the design of our Creator and how everything happens for a reason, and we don't know what that reason is. And as long as we observe and we take in the lessons, again, don't focus on the pain, focus on the lesson, and realize that all of us are here. There is a purpose. We may not understand that purpose right now, but all of us are here for a purpose, and we have to remember that about all people. But I me as a Christian, I do believe we are all God's people, designed in His image, and as such, we have an obligation to ourselves and our Creator to be the best humans we can be, and in those situations that we may not understand, we need to compartmentalize that and say, we may not understand this today, but there's probably a lesson here that I need to take away from it.
Absolutely.
And so I love your story about young Hendrix and giving him $5 to remember the lesson, because that's a lesson that while it may have cost you $5 today, it's going to be far more valuable to him down the road.
Absolutely. And I'd like to kind of to elaborate on one of your points, is that, again, in the grand, wonderful design of this, of this world and of nature. Nature wastes nothing. It uses everything. So, as you were saying, the guy who robs the bank teaches me not to do that. But it also teaches him through what he experiences as a result. So again, the lesson, that same lesson, is being learned from two different perspectives. As you said, maybe you see someone suffering, but there's a message in what it is that they're navigating. But that is, despite how unfortunate that situation may be and uncomfortable for that individual, there again is a message to the rest of us. Gratitude, not taking things for granted, maybe taking better care of our health. Maybe that person didn't do so well in in taking care of them. So again, the universe, the nature is always expressing everywhere. There's always expression. There's always expression. Even the body, again, which is why I call the learning modules body language. So our job is to listen and to, as you said, observe and to try to understand what is being said to us, because we're being spoken to, but are we listening? And are we taking in the information? Right. A pain is a notification. Yeah. That's language. Yes, okay. Hunger is a notification. Thirst is a note. It's expressing. And so this is a letter. Letters are language. Why is this a letter? And why is this a letter? And why is this a letter? And what is my body saying to me about me?
Sure.
You understand? And so, again, we have to pivot from the feeling in the moment. And again, the higher tier of that, or the more important part of that, is what we're learning. Because what we're learning, the information that we're extracting from whatever that situation is, however uncomfortable it may be, and even the discomfort, nature wastes nothing. Even the discomfort builds strength.
Yes.
So there's lesson in the situation. The discomfort builds strength and resilience. Nature, it uses everything. And so nothing is being, and so all that we have to do, as you said, is to compartmentalizing and to say, okay, how did this benefit me? Because trust me, there is a benefit in everything that we encounter and in every person. And if we begin to see life in that way, then we can take the discomfort and the pain that we feel and understand that it is empowering us. I gave this example to Hendrix. I said, the lion is the king of the jungle. I said, but at some point it's just a cub who's not able to manage his body. I said, but every time he hunts and fails, it's really not a failure. It's a win deferred, because he learns two things. He learns what to do the next time and what not to do the next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's absolutely right.
Through learning what those two things, what to do and what not to do, he becomes an excellent hunter, and he steps into his place, his design, and his purpose of being king of the jungle.
That's so beautiful.
So it's all just a matter of everything in nature is pushing us to that purpose that we're all designed to pour out into the body of humanity.
Oh, that's absolutely right. You keep on saying nature wastes nothing, and we shouldn't either, whether it be our times, our minds, our bodies, the love we give, the love we get.
Absolutely.
We should not waste any of that, Regi. And far too often I look around and I see people wasting time and wasting love by expressing hate and seeing those that are out there trying to divide us when there's hate maybe benefits some people in the short term, but hate will never win. And hate is such an ugly thing, and we need to learn to come together and see everybody for our common humanity and for our infinite value. Now, Regi, our time has just flown by,
as always,
as it always does. But I want to wrap up today real quick with you telling me, or telling more than me, but the DTH listeners, you focus a lot of your energy and your work on youngsters, and I know you're trying to get more of the value identity, the equal universe projects into schools, and I know you're doing some stuff with the state of Hawaii, the school system out there. Tell me, in the DTH listeners, Regi, what it is you're working on out there, and how people can learn more about that particular project?
You can learn more by going to theequaluniverse.com. And once you access the website, then you will see all the social media links inside where you can tap or click on those and see what it is that we've been up to. I was in Denver, Colorado in March, actually talking to the Tigray community. The Tigray is actually the civilization that created the Ethiopian civilization. And even going back further than that, they are the descendants of Solomon and Sheba. And so that was very interesting because the Ethiopian government is committing genocide against the Tigray. And so many of their youth, although they escaped the persecution, are grappling with their own value identity. And many of them committed suicide. And they're having, other challenges that they're navigating emotionally and mental health wise. And so I was there for a 2-day conference, a value identity conference, and shared much about the model and about, their inherent value. And people were, uplifted and asking if I could live there because it was such a rich encounter. And so there are a number of things. I'm actually preparing for some corporate engagements now. I'll definitely be keeping you abreast of those as well. Again, through the website. So yeah, follow me. I'm on all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and so you can see what we're keep up with what we're doing.
Super cool, man. Well, everybody knows they can find the all your information in the show notes for this episode on deratethehate.com. Regi Wilson, I've just another one of our great conversations that I've enjoyed immensely, man. I appreciate it, brother. You take care of yourself, and we will talk again soon.
You as well. Thank you so much, Will, for having me. And to all the DTH listeners, remember that you are valuable.
Friends, if there's anything in this episode that provided exceptional value to you, please make sure to hit that share button. Share it with your friends, share it far and wide. And of course, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe right from our website so you can get the Derate the Hate podcast sent to your email inbox every week. So this is Wilk wrapping up for the week saying get out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. If there is something that you would like to share with me, you can catch me on most social media platforms, or you can email me directly, wilk@wilksworld.com. With that, my friends, I am going to back on out of here, and we will catch you next week. Take care.